What's poppin', people? You got Jay Bear here for another SPL coach interview, and this time we are talking to That's a Plus One. That's if you want to give a quick introduction to sort of who you are, what you do Pokemon wise, content wise, VGC wise for the viewers.
Yeah, how's it going, everybody? My name is Philip Winchett, otherwise known as That's a Plus One. I've been playing competitive Pokemon way back. I started playing VGC in 2011. I played a lot of singles before that, starting near the end of Gen 3. And yeah, I just upload daily VGC videos on YouTube. Been doing that since about 2015, and we're going strong now. I'm excited to play in the SPL.
Awesome. And going with that, what are your season goals for this round of SPL?
All right, so I'm just going to say this. This is like the second draft week I've ever done. The last one I did was the WBE. And yeah, my goals are actually to keep up with like the really high level of competition that we have here. There's some of the best singles players that have ever like been doing draft content, and there's some of the best VGC players in the world. I personally qualified for Worlds last year, going for my second attempt, and just like knowing that I have to fight like the people who I would normally fight near the end of like a regionals run, in addition to some of the best singles players, I'm happy if I can just break like 500. If I can go like even, or if I could potentially make the playoffs, that would be amazing. But my main goal is to have fun and draft the mons I like to make the best content possible.
That's awesome to hear. And this, you said this is your first since WBE. Is this because WBE ran on the single side, right? So this is your first
Yeah, so
VGC one?
yeah, this is my first VGC draft. So the last season that I did the WBE, there was like singles and doubles, and I actually did singles because I do really like playing singles a lot. And so this is my first VGC draft. I'm friends with a couple other people that run a lot of VGC drafts, so like I've been asking for tips. But yeah, my goal is just to like draft like the mons. I think they can give me a lot of like different options throughout like the course of like a best of 3 set. So hopefully that happens.
Yeah, and that kind of leans into my next question. Like when you're building, not necessarily even for drafts, like what kind of teams do you like to build? And then how do you foresee yourself like kind of drafting in a way that you can build those types of teams?
Yeah, so for those of you guys that know me, I'm definitely like the anti-meta, like really like think outside the box guy. I'm known for using a lot of like Whimsicots, Zorarks, Smeargles, a lot of like those like really like best of one cheese things. And I would say one thing that makes me special is I'm someone that can take those teams to like a regional tournament and actually perform at, a very high level with them. So my goal in drafting, my I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about my picks yet, but
You
I'm going to
can.
be drafted. Okay, yeah. So my first pick was Whimsicott, and that's one of my staple Pokemon. I feel like you can set Trick Room, you can go Tailwind, and the fact that I can go any direction from a Whimsicott gives me the freedom to analyze the board state and then say, okay, cool. Like I'm going to make you overspec Trick Room. I'm going to Tailwind. I'm going to make you overspec Tailwind. I'm going to Trick Room. I'm going to be weaving in Flings, like Fling, Encore, all those like weird status moves and effects that you wouldn't normally see in just like beat down playstyles. That's the sort of thing that I really like to bring to the table, and hopefully I can get the rest of the picks that I need to make teams like that work for this season.
Yeah, my favorite thing when drafting Whimsicott is Whimsicott's like a max points Pokemon because it can make whatever is next to it act like a max point Pokemon. And that's like when I draft, I really like to pick Whimsicott. I think not necessarily this gen, but last gen when I was drafting, I would say
Oh yeah.
Whimsicott was, in my opinion, the 101.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. So like, I was looking at like all the 20 picks, and I was the sixth pick. So I was like, if they let me get Whimsicott, like, all right, if I didn't get Whimsicott, like, honestly, I don't think I would be doing very well. I'm going to do very well. But since I got it, that allows me to play my game in every single match, no matter if I'm playing against like Aaron Zhang or Joey or Joe UX9. I don't care who it is. I can play the game my way if I get the mons that I like, which I really hope I also get Terrakion. That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I won't leak to anyone that you're planning on that. But
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I could always get like Kabalion. It works, you know.
yeah, there's a lot of like beat up synergies with Whimsicott
Oh
too,
yeah.
which I think like people know about them, but they don't necessarily value them. I feel like at least as much.
Well, so like for what of like a lot of my points like I earned last season was like if you have like Whimsicott on your team and you have like a obvious speed up mon, they have to go with the follow me. So and if you have like a Zorak or another mon that can come in disguise, they have to go like follow me to stop the beat up Whimsicott play, but then like they just eat like a Specs hyper voice in the face, you know? So it's like there's a bunch of little things where you can like tunnel opponents down like the lines that you want them to go. And even if it's like a suboptimal line, if you know where it's going, you know exactly when to flip it in your favor on turn 3, turn 4 to steal that win and kind of like go into game 2 or 3 where your opponent just feels like the rug got pulled out from under him. Like that's my favorite way to play.
Yeah, and it's even better too because in like this pool, it's like 20 coaches. That means not everyone's
Mm-hmm.
gonna have a good follow me user. Like some
Oh
people will
yeah.
get the Rage Powder, but obviously Whimsicott being a grass type's immune to that, which is a great
Mm-hmm.
great option for you.
Yep.
And do you like the best of three nature? I know like you're a VGC player, so I'm assuming you're pro best of three, but like coming from like more of a singles background on my end with like draft, it was a bit of an adjustment getting used to like VGC's best of three nature.
Yeah, so I started playing like competitive Pokemon in like singles tournaments, going to like LANs and like anime conventions back in like 2005. So I had like a full like singles like arc before I started playing VGC in like 2011, 2012. And we didn't even start doing like best of three until like 2015, like the end of 2015, going in 2016. So believe it or not, I'm one of the few VGC players that like I thrive in best of one. Like again, like the cheese guy, you don't want to fight that cheese guy in best of one. Like, so like when I'm building my teams, what I like to do is just come up with like a bunch of little ways to play best of one. And you might think that leans into like 2-2-2 comps, or like a bunch of little like, you know, one game I go Dozo Tatsu and one game I go like Pow Knight or something. But like, I think it leans more into like leading the same way every single time, and then like they don't know where the rest of the flowcharts go because you can do so many different things. But yeah, I do like best of one. Best of three is fine. If anything, like I think best of three is better for content because it makes the videos longer, so you can see like a lot more of like all the different creators' picks, and you see a lot more of the creativity come out in best of three, I would say.
Yeah, I think getting like coming from the singles best of three is obviously an adjustment, but now I wouldn't want to play VGC any other way. And it's just like knowing that because like the games are so fast, one small mistake is really magnified in like that 4v4 2-on-2 format. And I think having that game 2 and game 3, even if like you see game 1 is not going your way, there's still things you can do in game 1 to make 2 and 3 easier, just like trying to garner information, especially because it's not fully open team sheet. It's open Terra, but
yeah. I also like that it's really I like that it's like closed team sheet for the most part too. I really like that. I was gonna say one other thing about like the best of three. You know, we still actually have a lot of our events on our circuit that are best of one. Premier challenges are usually still best of one in a lot of situations. You know, the global challenges that happen every couple months are also like closed sheet, closed Terra, best of one. So we still have like inklings of that. So I'm glad that it's still like a part of the game. But yeah, I think again, best of three is the right way to go moving forward.
Yeah. And going into this season, you mentioned it a little bit, but are there any like rivals that you see yourself having in this league? Anyone who you like, you know, you said you wanted to have fun, go 500. Is there anyone who like you really like are looking forward to like playing, hopefully like beating, like anything that would mean more to you than any other game?
Yeah, let me think. All right, so you know, me and Moxie have been going like back and forth as rivals, kind of on YouTube for a while, and he's finally like completely pulled away. You know, got all the subscribers, been killing it. I'm so happy that they're doing so well for themselves and their channel. But I've always kind of measured myself against Moxie as like the person that, as long as I'm like keeping up with them, I'm doing my best. And we've played at regionals before, and so there's someone that I always try and bring my A game against. So Moxie Boosted, someone that I definitely respect and I would like to play against if possible. I would say out of like a lot of like the singles coaches, I watch Joey's content a lot, so that'd be really cool to fight them. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of people that like are also just really, really good who I'd like to see how I stack up against them. Knowing Joe UX9 is another one who like, since we're both relatively new, I would say, to VGC draft. I don't know how much experience they have, but I haven't really seen them doing that much draft content. It'd be cool to see how both of us like attempt to fight each other in like a VGC draft situation. And if I get blown out, like that's a good measuring stick moving forward. But it'd be cool to be able to bring my A game in that and see how far I could get against someone as seasoned as they are.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see like, because I feel like this league has like a good mix that where I haven't like seen. There's a lot of people with the pure like draft background and like really like hard. They've like done draft leagues for a long time, and there's a lot of people who've done VGC for a long time. But like VGC draft isn't as big of a thing, so there's not a lot of people who've done both. But I think it'll be cool seeing how like people measure up. Like some people who are more used to the drafting, some people who are more used to the 2v2 aspect.
Yeah.
And kind of moving a little bit away from the season as a whole, but like what are some Pokemon, we kind of already mentioned it, like competitively you really like the Whimsicots, but like are there any like favorite mons that maybe aren't so good competitively but maybe you think you can make work?
I mean, my mascot was the Baton Rouge Butterfrees. Like, I'm someone that's taken Butterfree to regionals, you know, top cut, you know, regionals with it before, like, the whole Dynamax evolution thing. So, mons that I like Butterfree. I like things like Ditto. Zoroark is one of my, like, golden, like, staple mons that I really like. Azelf's another one that I like to pick up if possible. I think you can do a lot of different things. That's showing my singles background. You know what I mean? Like, I like a lot of those mons that, like, really do perform very well in singles, and trying to, like, adapt that into how they would work for VGC. I'm trying to think of, like, any really weird ones that are just, like, actually bad that I think would be really cool. I think Spewpaw is okay. I think Wartortle and Spewpaw are both, like, very underrated mons that you wouldn't really see that much out of that can do, like, a lot of really cool stuff in VGC.
Yeah, War Turtle is one of my like favorite go-to one-point
Oh, it's
Pokemon. It's
so
like
good. Yeah.
it has so many tools.
Yep. It's so good.
Mhm. And I guess I brought this up in my last interview. I guess Emil brought it up, but because this SPL season is doing something where VGC, they did maybe like a really short time in Sword and Shield, but they're bringing on the mythical Pokemon. Are there any like mythicals that you're particularly intrigued by?
Yeah, I love all of the mythical Pokemon. Like all of them. I love playing with mythicals, and because like since I've been playing mostly VGC for like the past decade, whenever I do get a chance to like play some singles, the first thing I do is like fill my team with like 3 mythicals because like I just don't get a chance to use them that often. But Keldeo is one that I like. I don't really expect it to be very good. Same thing goes for like Shaman and like Skyman. I don't think they'd be that good. I wish we had Celebi. But let's see. Other mythicals. Yeah, I wish we also had like Victini. I love the mythicals, but it's just one of those things where yeah, I think they drastically changed some matchups. Like we have Deoxys in this draft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be like really, really cool. I love using Deoxys speed, and I think they could be a lot of fun. I know that like I might fall for like a pit trap and like getting like 1 or 2 of them just because I like using them so much. But yeah, some of them are like super cracked. I think like Magirna's banned. That would be super busted.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just goes to show, like even someone who has like sort of a understanding of these Pokemon, when you think about it in like a VGC mindset, we just completely like block those Pokemon out of our brains, you know? So they're either gonna be super busted or not. And I think the only time we've ever been able to use them in VGC was with Dynamax, right? And that's Series 10, was that, or 13 or something like that? One of those formats.
End of Sword
And
and
we had
Shield,
like yeah, so we had all the good ones. We had like Magearna, we had Victini and stuff like that, and those were only really busted because of Dynamax. I think Volcanion might be kind of cool to use, and I've actually been a really big fan of Diancie as well. I think it's really cool. It gets Trick Room, bunch of like really really solid options. I'm a big fan of those 4x weakness Pokemon because you can like tunnel opponents down like over respecting those 4x weaknesses. Leads to great pivots, you know, protect double up baits and stuff like that. So yeah, Mythicals are great, and I'm really excited to use them in this draft.
Yeah, I think Diancie and Volcanion are the top 2 on this board, I want to say. And yeah, obviously with Magearna banned, and another one that I wish was in the game was Melmetal. I think that one would be super. It probably would be busted, but I think it'd be like awesome to use.
Melmetal's busted. I'll live and die on that hill. That Pokemon is ridiculous.
Yeah. And is there anything else you want the viewers to know sort of about you as a person who kind of got into it a little bit at the start, but like about your Pokemon journey?
Yeah, so like I said, I played singles for like a really, really long time before getting into VGC in the early like 2011, 2012s format. And I'm just now starting to get back to like my singles roots. This year, one of my resolutions was like make a singles channel from scratch. And I've been uploading like 3 to 4 singles battles a day, playing like all the old formats, playing all that like Gen 4 OU. We're starting like Gen 5 OU, BDSP OU, Let's Go OU, all that like fun stuff. And so it's been really refreshing to like reconnect with a lot of like the singles community, and you know, I'm just really happy to like play Pokemon. I'm at a point in my like career competitively and on YouTube where I feel I finally have the freedom to make the type of content that I like, and so that leans into me picking the mons that will let me create like fun and interactive content that hopefully the viewers at home like. So I'm really excited to make some really fun teams, and hopefully you're gonna have me along for the ride.
Yeah, and the one last thing that I wanted to ask is what got you started on YouTube creating?
Yeah, that's a weird question. So like I had a channel back in like 2009, and I've said this before, but like back then, you know, I don't know if you know, but like we didn't have like VGC or like that much like Pokemon presence. Like everyone back then was filming with like a webcam pointed at their, like not even a webcam, like a camcorder, you know, pointed at their DS or like Game Boy Advance or whatever. So there wasn't like role models that I could like watch and like say, oh, I want to do that. When I started YouTube, it was basically just like I wanted a collection of like all of the tournament games and all of the events that I went to where like I just wanted to show for myself for when I was old that like I like dumpstered all these people. Like, you know, just like a collection of me doing like the craziest, weird type of stuff. Like, you know, my name is That's Plus One and welcome to, I don't know if we're allowed to say that here, but you know, that show that was on like MTV, you know, like basically stuff like that. So yeah, I just wanted a collection of all of like the cool plays that I did. And it's really cool to see how big Pokemon, not only singles and VGC, have gotten over the years on YouTube. Like I think we're in such a great spot right now. Everyone has access to capture cards. You can play on simulators and a bunch of other things as well if you need to test things. So yeah, Pokemon has a really, really bright future going forward, and excited to play more going on the Switch too as well. So that's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, that like just got announced. My Switch is like on its last days, I fear, but hopefully the Switch 2 comes out soon enough and I can finally get that upgrade.
Yeah, I still have a day one Switch that I stream with every single day. You know, another thing, like I stream, 5, 6 days a week, Twitch TV/that's+1. You want to check out? I'm gonna be doing a bunch of my building for this sort of stuff, so go check that stuff out if you guys want to see it.
Yes, everyone, please subscribe to That's a Plus One if you want to follow along with his journey this season, and also all the other SPL coaches will be down below. But I think it's super important that like we got 20 coaches in here. It's gonna be a good season for everyone.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Even if I you know what, I want to not get last. That's my goal. As long as I'm not last, I think I'm killing it. So
yeah, it's always like something where I think about in Pokemon, like it feels really good to do good, but in every match there's going to be one winner and one loser. So it's like someone kind of has to, for someone to win, someone has to lose.
Yep, well, that's Pokemon,
Yeah. And I think that's like really helped my mentality with like Pokemon games is like you can't win every single game. It's like Pokemon especially is a very high variance game, but
I think what I do to like combat that is think to yourself, like even if you know you're gonna lose in a matchup, what I always like to tell myself is like I'm gonna do the best that I can in this matchup, and even if it's losing, if I force my opponent to outplay me when I'm doing my best, that's a win. And if I can get myself into a situation where I can do like my best and it's also the cool, funny, like crazy off the wall thing, even better. If I can, have fun and do my best, like that's just a win in my book, even if it's an L.
yeah. All right. I think that comes to the end of my prepared questions. So, like we just said, make sure to subscribe to That's a Plus One. Follow along with the journey for this entire SPL season and other Pokemon content as well. And I can link your singles channel as well for all the folks at home.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would really appreciate that.
No problem. And yeah, be sure to follow because there's going to be an awesome SPL season ahead. Peace.
Peace.